Lesbian Detectives. Unsolved cases. She's still missing. Yeah, they haven't found her yet. Well, let's talk about it.
They say he vanished without a trace. Could it be a psychotic break or a tragic accident? Police don't know where the body went. Unsolved murders, body still missing. That's unheard. Where's the witness? Lesbian detectives, what's going on? City on high alert, this out the norm. He did what, the who? Man, that ain't real, these crimes ain't true. Then come uncover these theories with us. We live right now, tuning in is a must.
Right now, Lesbian Detectives. Lesbian Detectives. We about to start the show, so get your popcorn ready, let's go. Pay attention to the message I present to you, the Lesbian Detectives.
This is Lesbian Detectives. I'm Sierra.
And I'm Elizabeth.
And we are here talking about missing and unsolved murders.
We are discussing cases that you have forgotten about or never even heard of.
So sit back, relax, and let's start this podcast. So we see a little different today. Ashley finally got sick. I have COVID. Both my daughter and I now we're sick.
And I'm getting better. I still am at the very end, but I feel much, much better.
But this is like a job to us, so we're going to keep going. Because I was talking out a little, you sick, you still got to work.
Right.
So also my wife decided to help me out because every time I talk long, I cough and I have my tea.
Your throat dries up.
My throat dries up so bad. So she decided to help me out today. I still researched the case and wrote it. So it's still kind of new to you. So like you read it and like listening to it for the first time. So it's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
You also see some ads in our podcast. And when we get to a certain number of downloads, thank you so much for listening and download.
Yes, thank you everyone for your support.
Our pod host actually put the ads in our episode. We don't get to choose where the ads go or how to do them. We just get approve or reject if we don't like the ads. So I feel like we're making it a little bit in life that we got some ads. So thank you so much. I know you're like, ads. We apologize, but that's how we get paid. So we need the money. Our child is expensive. And guys, yeah, I like my cup. If you're on YouTube, do you see my cup? My cup actually says Taste the Rainbow. I got it like 3 years ago and I love it.
I think it's like the only gay item that we own.
Yeah, we don't have a lot of LGBT.
We need to do better.
We need to do better. Our friends give us stuff. We're like, oh, we should go get that one day. This is my wife episode. I'm sitting back and I'm relaxing, drinking my tea. I don't know if I have fans from Great Britain. I didn't do it in the microwave. I did it on the pot, on the stove, the way y'all guys taught me because I watch a lot of Great Britain shows, so don't judge me. So hit it, wife.
Today's case is about every parent's worst nightmare when your child goes missing. This is the case of Dulce Alvarez. Dulce Alvarez was born on April the 25th, 2014, in Bridgeton, New Jersey, to her mother, Noema Alvarez Perez, and her father, Edgar Perez. Dulce was only 5 years old when she went missing, but she is an adorable little girl, by all accounts. A happy kid who just started kindergarten, loved the movie Frozen, and dressing up like Elsa.
Mm-hmm.
Sienna had that stage too.
Yeah.
Now she's at Bluey.
She's love Bluey.
Yeah. But she gets bored sometimes, so she'll switch it up.
Now she's to the Proud Family.
Oh, God. And she was always begging her older cousins to show her YouTube videos of Peppa Pig. Dulce's mom, Noema, was a very young mother, giving birth to Dulce when she was only 14 years old. Gosh, I can't imagine being a mom at 14. I can barely do it right now that I'm 32.
I feel like I should have had to a little bit more younger because my energy level just went down because I'm like almost 30. I'm like 28.
No, but I bet you enjoyed those days.
I did. I really did. I had a time in my life, my younger days. Sounds so old saying that in my younger days. I bet like all of our listeners that's older than me, like, really, girl? You're still in your 20s. I'm so sorry, guys.
Yes. And Dulce's father, Edgar, wasn't really in their lives. According to Noema, he questioned whether or not Dulce was even his until she began to resemble him more as she got older. It's funny how guys do that. I feel like it's a way to get out of child support or own up to any responsibility. It's an excuse for them to live their lives.
I'm going to say something that can be kind of taken a bad way, guys. But I feel like after every kid is born, you should get a paternity test done. Like, just automatically.
Exactly. If you're unsure. But no, to me, this is just an excuse for
Even
them.
if you're married to me, get one done. Because I don't want you to come back, oh, that kid. I was like, oh, that kid don't look like me. Sometimes the kids, my daughter looked nothing like me when she was born. Nothing like me. Now, she's my split image. So it's like, she like my wife. I actually gave birth to my egg. She like my wife when she was born. I'm like, what happened here? But it's like, every kid is not going to look the same or look exactly like the parent. You have to wait until they features come in.
What did Deborah say? If you feed them, that's how.
Yeah, my mom always said, if you feed them, that's how they look like you. Because I look like nothing like her when I was born. I look like my dad. And she was like, I start feeding you a lot more and you look like me.
And then at a certain point, he let her know that he did plan to fight for custody for her. But due to Noema being so young, she actually shared custody of Dulce with her parents. But 2 years later, Dulce became a big sister when Noema gave birth to another baby from a different man. This time, a boy named Manuel, that they affectionately would call Manny. That's what we call our nephew.
Yeah.
I'm
shout
sorry.
out Manny.
Yeah, shout out Manny. I keep diverting. Maybe I have ADHD. Sorry, guys. But after her second child was born, Noema dropped out of high school during her sophomore year. Jesus Christ. High school with 2 kids?
Mm-hmm. We should do this more often. Let my wife read the cases and make side comments as she reading.
Sorry, I'm very judgmental. Don't judge me, though.
Very. Trust me, guys.
And by the time she was 18, she moved out of her parents' house, leaving both Dulce and Manny behind. Noema spoke to the Missing Pieces Network and told them that she understood she wasn't in her children's lives as much as she should have been and spent a lot of time hanging out with the wrong crowd, smoking weed, and drinking. But when she became pregnant for the 3rd time at the age of 19, Noema was ready to change her lifestyle. She stopped smoking, she stopped drinking, and stopped hanging out with the wrong crowd, and began making an effort to take a more active role in her children's lives.
That's good.
Monday, September the 16th, 2019, was a normal day for 5-year-old Dulce. She goes to school along with Noema's 8-year-old sister. So after school around 4 p.m., Noema picks up the girls along with 3-year-old Manny to take them all to Bridgeton City Park.
Mm-hmm.
But before they get to the park, they stopped at a convenience store to get some ice cream and some scratch-off lottery tickets for Noema. Investigators were able to recover the footage from this stop, and the video looks totally normal.
Mm-hmm.
They all pick up their ice cream, and while Noema is paying for everything, Dulce picks up her little brother and walks him to the counter, and she starts standing on one leg, just kind of bored and playing around with Noema's sister. So after they all get ice cream, they head over to the park, and Noema parks the car in a parking lot facing a small playground so the kids can play. But Noema and her younger sister decide to stay behind in the car while Dulce and her brother, who again are 5 and 3 years old, go to the playground.
Mm-hmm.
Noema told police that the reason she stayed behind was so she could scratch these lottery tickets while her younger sister did homework.
Mm-hmm.
Bridgeton City Park is this huge, heavily wooded area spanning over 1,000 acres. There are also 2 lakes, an outdoor theater with a swimming beach, and a 7,500 square foot splash park. Bridgeton High School is right there. And it even has its own zoo with nearly 100 animals in it. Oh, I would love to go there.
I'll take you.
I'm talking lions, tigers, bears.
Oh my! I know everybody back in the day. Y'all know that line. Y'all know that line. My wife does it.
Monkeys and a full zoo. Right, you caught me off guard. Access points are along all arteries of the park and are even tucked behind the zoo. So these trails are all over the park. Some along the side of the 2 lakes, and they kind of snake in every direction, meaning there are so many different exit points. Mm-hmm. So Noema and her kids are at this smaller playground behind Bridgeton High School that is a part of this larger park. NBC Philadelphia did an amazing video walkthrough that you can find on their YouTube channel, where they show the walk where Noema parked her car to the small playground where Dulce and her brother were playing.
Mm-hmm.
It takes the reporter about a minute to walk about 30 meters from the parking lot to the playground. The whole time this news anchor is doing a walkthrough, you can see the news van behind get smaller and smaller as he walks towards the playground. She goes around a slight curve, past a basketball court with some fencing, and a hill to get to this playground. So by the time he gets there, the large news van is barely visible. So when Dulce and her brother were playing, I'd imagine they might be able to see their mom's car, but I think it would be pretty difficult for anyone from the parking lot to see small children from that far away.
So I actually watched the video, as I said. It really is hard. You really can't see them. It's so far away. So to me, as a parent, I'm like, you really couldn't keep your eyes on them. They look like little ants from the car.
Mm.
The kids can see the car, but they can't see like their mom or their aunt in the car. So to me, it was a far like view. Like when we go to the park with our daughter, we in the park, like we right beside her. To me, if she wanted to do homework or scratch off the thing, she should have sat like in the park, like in the grass area, sat right there and did it right there.
Right.
To me, if I can't see my child, she's a little ant, I'm getting my butt up.
Right. After all, Dulce was estimated to be almost 3.5 feet tall. And who knows how tall a 3-year-old Manny was. To the south of the playground are some buildings used by park staff. From what I could find, it seems like they were pretty much just storage buildings that would hold items and equipment used to maintain the park. But behind these buildings, behind where Dulce and her brother were going to play, is a road that splits off into a few different roads, including a road straight out of the park. What is also terrifying is that not too far from the area is a spillway that leads into Sunset Lake, one of the 2 lakes in the park. But now that we've set the scene, let's talk about what happened. So at about 4 p.m., Noema parks her car and Dulce and Manny run to the playground, about 30 meters away. Noema says that she was able to see her kids on the playground for most of the time they were there, but for 5 to 10 minutes, she lost track of them when they moved over to the swings due to the hill blocking her view. A lot of news outlets report that Manny came running and crying to Noema's car. So when they got out of the car, they found Manny. He is crying and alone, and Dulce is gone. Dan tried to ask him what happened, but according to Noema, this 3-year-old does not speak at all yet. But they figure out that Manny lost his ice cream, and he points to the buildings behind the playground when they ask where Dulce is. So of course they check behind the buildings, but no one is there. So they start walking around, just kind of calling out Dulce's name, looking for her. Noema had stated that at first she thought that maybe Dulce was playing some type of games with him, like hide and go seek. But after calling out for Dulce and getting no response, Noema goes to the basketball court to ask the people there if they saw anything. But they tell Noema that someone threw Manny's ice cream on the floor and Dulce ran away. And they say that they saw a black man and a Mexican man with 2 kids in the area her children were playing in, and they think Dulce might have been kidnapped. At this point, they have been looking for Dulce for about 10 to 15 minutes, and Noema decides to call her brother who lived near the park. And she asks him to walk over with their very sweet but very intimidating looking dog, in hopes that he would see Dulce on the walkway and maybe be able to intercept her and possibly anyone who might have taken her. But he can't find Dulce either. So at 4:48 p.m., after Dulce has been missing for about 30 minutes, Noema decides it's time to call 911. But there are no traces of her. That's right, Noema was extensively interviewed by police until about midnight and returns to the park the next day to help search for Dulce. On day 2 of the search, they even get more volunteers and officers to help look. At this point, the search expanded from those 60 to 70 acres to all 1,000+ acres of this park and the adjacent neighborhood. They had helicopters, dogs, dive crews, and massive amount of people searching the park on foot. The search for Dulce was huge. And while volunteers and law enforcement are going over every inch of the park, investigators interview and re-interview witnesses as well as take a closer look at Noema and her family. By all accounts, it seems that they are very cooperative. The police brings in dogs to search Noema's car, which was still parked in the same spot, and they search the family home. But they come up with nothing. By the end of the day, they still can't find any trace of Dulce, and they call off the search after it gets dark at about 7:30. Although they didn't find Dulce that day, investigators were able to gather some pretty important information. Witnesses stated that they saw a man putting Dulce in a red van with tinted windows and a sliding door.
I wonder why the witness like, hey, like, that's kind of weird, stop. But I mean, was she kicking and screaming? If she wasn't, they probably like, oh, this was like a father and a daughter or niece and uncle. They probably think nothing of it. But if she was kicking and screaming, that's when I'm like, okay, you need to stop this. But people have said that when they see stuff like that, people getting kidnapped, they just look. They don't do nothing about it nowadays. And that's so sad.
They described this man as a thin Hispanic male who was 5'6" to 5'8" with acne and no facial hair. And they said that he was wearing orange sneakers that were possibly Nike brand, red pants, and a black shirt.
He was not matching.
One of the most frustrating parts about researching this case are the witness statements. You don't really know which witness said what. Because this description of the van and the man seemed to be kind of this mash of statements for many who supposedly saw this red van, and the people on the basketball court who were able to describe the Hispanic man. Now, as far as I can tell, the description of the van comes directly from Manny only, with many news outlets reporting that it did come from Manny, and the county prosecutor saying that it came from, quote, a child of tender age, end quote, which would make sense to be Manny.
I wonder how they got the information out of him if he didn't speak.
I mean, maybe he knew like little words, especially like him being a boy, like, oh, that's a car, you know, it's red, that's a van. You know? But again, Manny is 3, and Noema says that he does not even speak yet. So I wonder, how did they get this information from him if he didn't talk? That's super crazy to me. They will finally use this information and issue an Amber Alert for Dulce at 10 p.m. that night, over 24 hours since she was last seen.
That's the crazy thing. They don't release Amber Alerts until they have like a lot of description, like a car or how the person look. But to me, if the kid get kidnapped, the Amber Alert should go right then, right there, because it says that the longer you wait, the child might not come back home. So you waited 24 hours to release an Amber Alert. That should have been the next hour.
But I mean, you can't really tell people, hey, we're looking for so-and-so, but not give any description.
I mean, you could update it, but you know the little girl was missing.
I don't know.
To agree to disagree.
Let's agree to disagree. They also begin pulling over red vans and SUVs all over the city. By day 4 of the search for Dulce, there is a $35,000 reward for anyone that can provide information that would lead investigators to finding her. And on this day, Noema's current boyfriend, who is not Dulce's father, is questioned by investigators and then taken into custody of ICE. Noema tells the media that she has no idea why he was detained or really what was going on. He was eventually released from ICE. It seemed like after that, people were scared to come forward. Authorities and Noema begging the community not to be afraid and come forward, and reiterating that their immigration status would not be questioned.
I think that's when they really start losing people, because it seems like the community, they was the ones that was bidding up the reward money. They was really helping, but a lot of people in that part of town was immigrants. They're scared. If you put the boyfriend in ICE, you think they're not going to do it to them? They probably can get them information, because I watch a lot of SUV, and I see that sometimes the people who are immigrants, they will have information. They will go to police, tell them, they will have them as a witness, and sometimes the defense, they will call ICE on them and say, hey, this person's here illegal, and get them shipped back. So they are scared. They do not want to go back to their home country. So it's like, I got this information, but I don't want to go back.
So as a Hispanic person, I do have family that they're illegally here. And yeah, that is one of the big triggers. All the people that I know that have ended up with ICE, they have been deported to Mexico. I haven't heard of anybody say, oh yeah, ICE let me go. So this was actually the first time that I see something like this. There's even like, they have it down to like, if you go to jail, make sure to get out before I think the weekend or something. Because ICE would come in once a week. They even knew the day. It's been so long though that I've gotten updated on this information. But yeah, no, they're gonna be scared because they don't want to lose their lives here.
And I wonder if they thought that he was here illegal and they released him because like, oh, we have his paperwork. He probably didn't have no paperwork on him to say that he was here, No,
ICE will take you because you don't have papers.
I wonder why they took him then.
He didn't have papers. What the question for me is, why did they release him? Probably because people weren't cooperating, but by that time it's too late.
Or he could. He probably didn't have paperwork on him. And then you're like, oh, I have it.
They're not gonna.
I'm just saying, like, it's like you said, it's like, why was he released?
I don't know. I mean, I guess anybody who is in with the that knows immigration law or works in the ICE department can probably give us a little bit more feedback. But to my knowledge, they're not going to take somebody in who does have status.
Right. And I don't know.
Because even like you, say you get pulled over by ICE, like, or me. Let's say me.
Yeah, I was like,
if I get pulled over by ICE and I don't have my driver's license or anything, I know my social. I've taken pictures of my driver's license. Like I know how to talk to them to know that I am legal here. Like I can give them my address and they can search, without taking me in. And then they're going to be like, oh yeah, she does have papers.
Or they probably thought it was the boyfriend and like was trying to like hound him like, okay, you can go to ICE. And like they'll try to get information out of him, say they thought it was the boyfriend or the mom, and they were like trying to scare him.
But they're not going to threaten you with something that can't be a threat.
You don't know.
That would have been more the police. That wouldn't have been ICE. All the other cases that we've done, how many times has ICE gotten involved?
Well, I mean, they got the second Hispanic case we have done.
Right.
So the first one's like
because
in the 80s.
His legal status was questionable.
Well, Miss Lawyer, do you have any other idea why he was there or released?
He did not have any papers.
I said that.
And he was released because maybe the public wasn't cooperating.
Oh.
But it's rare when ICE lets you go. In my opinion, I could be wrong. But I've had too many family members get deported, so I've kind of seen it firsthand.
Okay.
It seems like the damage was already done. On top of now dealing with a community who is more afraid than ever to speak with police. They also faced a lot of obstacles. The park is huge, and with such a large search party and so many people in the park in general, it was nearly impossible to preserve any footprints, tire tracks, or any other evidence of Dulce or her possible abductor. Police Chief Michael Galmati Sr. stated that surveillance footage showed that roughly 400 vehicles drove by the park in the same time before and after Dulce went missing. And although they managed to speak with about 80% of the vehicle owners, they were unable to get a hold of the other 20%, leaving about 80 vehicles with who knows how many potential witnesses in them unaccounted for. Investigators stated that they conducted thousands of interviews and reviewed thousands of hours of video surveillance, diligently looking for any sign of Dulce. Although there are no cameras in the exact area Dulce was last seen in, the police have obtained other videos that confirm Dulce was in the park that day. According to authorities, although there is no video surveillance covering every inch of Bridgeton Park, there is no way to get in and out of the park without being caught on at least one camera. Meaning that if Dulce was abducted, that person is 100% in that footage. All they need is for a witness to come forward and give them information that will allow them to match that to their video footage. By September 24th, a week after Dulce went missing, the FBI finally steps in, and they add Dulce to the most wanted missing persons list.
Bravo.
They are also finally able to get a hold of Dulce's biological father, who was living in Mexico at the time. They never said what happened in that interview. By October the 9th, the reward goes up to $52,000 after 3 New Jersey state police unions pitch in. There are also quite a few vigils held to pray for Dulce's safe return. It seems that although many people were afraid to speak with police, the community really rallied behind the search for Dulce, and on October the 15th, the police finally released a sketch of a possible witness they want to speak with. He is not a suspect or a person of interest, just a witness. The Cumberland County Prosecutor's Office that had jurisdiction over this area said that the sketch was created after a new witness came forward. They also made a point to state that the description did not come from a child witness who gave the initial description that led to the Amber Alert issued the day after Dulce went missing. But the description of this sketch states that the witness they are interested in speaking with is a Hispanic male, approximately 5 foot 7 inches tall, with a slender build, believed to be about 30 to 35 years old, who was wearing a white t-shirt, blue jeans, and a white baseball-style hat. The sketch also shows what looks like acne on his chin, so nearly a month after Dulce is gone, the police released this sketch and description of the witness that is similar to the suspect they released with the initial Amber Alert. Both Hispanic, both thin, both about the same height, both have visible acne. The next big development in the case won't happen until March of 2020 when cryptic letters related to Dulce's disappearance start popping up all the way in Ohio. One letter shows up at the Austin Town Library, which is like a 7-hour car ride away from Bridgeton, New Jersey. According to Janet Lowe, a spokesperson for the library, the letter was mostly ineligible, but was immediately turned over to police. The next letter shows up at an ice cream shop, which of course we know that Dulce was literally eating ice cream when she disappeared, but this letter is also pretty illegible.
I wonder who was writing the letters.
If it was Hispanic people and they don't really know English, then
you can see it.
Yeah. But I could probably even try and make it up.
Right.
I've seen it. Next, an index card is sent to Hollywood Gaming at Mahoney Valley Racecourses, prompting police to search about 40 acres of wooded area near this location. It read, quote, 76 truck stop, dead end street, entrance woods, please look, end quote. But after 2 days of search parties, drones with infrared technology, and cadaver dogs, nothing is found. She did a ton of interviews and even went on Dr. Phil's show.
Let me say something. Do not go on Dr. Phil's show. I don't feel like it's the best show for you to go on if your family member is missing. I don't see it because a lot of time he put them on and he hound them so much it make them look so guilty or different. Like I saw a lot of cases where they went on. It's like it really don't do anything to help the missing person. It make the person who won the show look so guilty. So please don't go Dr. Phil. Please don't.
But Noema is heavily scrutinized. Her interviews are basically picked apart, with many people saying that she seemed cold and emotionless.
As I said.
People even came forward to speak about the day after Dulce went missing, stating that Noema didn't seem to be looking for Dulce or to be concerned as they would have expected. They point to Noema apparently taking a break during the search to eat some pizza. I think it's important to keep in mind that Noema was 5 months pregnant at this time and apparently had not eaten since the day before. But the largest and most common criticism of Noema had been about not keeping a closer eye on Dulce and her brother that day at the park. This led many people to theorize that this could have been strategic on Noema's part so she could sell her daughter into sex trafficking or possibly some type of illegal adoption. The idea is that by making her sister stay in the car with her, whoever planned on taking Dulce would have mistaken her sister for Dulce, and that the witness would be 3-year-old Manny.
So I want everybody to know, I have saw this one, that's why I put in the story, so much on Reddit, different outlet. We'll talk in more in detail in theories, but this one was everywhere. So.
But there were actually a ton of witnesses in this case. so I'm not sure how solid that plan would be. Noema has received so much criticism that she has publicly acknowledged it several times. And she states that of course she wishes she could go back to the day and keep a closer eye on the kids. But despite the criticism, she still continues to speak out in the media in hopes of generating leads in her daughter's case. Noema also stated in a press conference that the police would randomly stop by her house all the time to talk about the case as things came up. She was extensively interviewed and appears to be cooperating. They also took and returned her cell phone multiple times throughout the investigation. And since they returned it to her, I have to believe that they didn't find anything they considered evidence of crime. On the year anniversary of Dulce's disappearance in September of 2020, Noema told ABC6 Philadelphia News, quote, "I am grateful for them because not a lot of people are helping my family. Support us looking for Dulce. There are a lot of people judging me. My family is saying we had something to do with it, but we had nothing to do with it," end quote. Because now, a year later, the police and prosecutors have started saying that they aren't putting as much weight into the red van with the tinted windows and sliding doors anymore. So basically, most of everything they put out in the Amber Alert, other than the description of Dulce, is not relevant anymore. Dulce's family and many people in the community are still hopeful that she is alive and well. The reward for information that leads to finding Dulce is now up to $75,000. If you have any information about Dulce, please contact the FBI at 1-800-CALL-FBI. Dulce Alvarez was 5 years old when she went missing. Dulce is Hispanic with brown hair and brown eyes and was last seen wearing a yellow shirt with a white elephant on it, black and white pants with flowers on them, and white sandals with a heel. And now, let's get into some theories.
So my theory is I think it was a stranger danger. I don't feel like the mom had anything to do with it. I just think she was young and didn't have the experience that some parents have, like to watch the kid do this. I'm doing the age in my head. She probably was like 19, 20 when her daughter went missing.
Mm-hmm.
And also we have to remember, she really wasn't in her kid's life in the beginning. So I don't know if that bond was still there. And I want everybody to know that our theories are our theories. We're not going for anybody. We're not saying anything negative about anybody. We're just saying how we think the case might went.
Just trying to dissect the case.
I feel like it was a stranger danger. I feel like it was an opportunity. I feel like the person probably saw the kids alone. He's like, ooh, easy target, no parents around. Let me get this little girl.
Yeah.
And then, because people, I hate it, like, oh, it was sex trafficking. To me, it's like, why would we go that far with a parent? I mean, Missy, they didn't go hard on the dad or the father-in-law that hard.
Antoinette did get sold, though.
But her mom came out and finally said that she sold her.
Well, she said, what if I told you?
Yeah, but it seemed like Dulce's mom is like really, really, like, they getting at her like all the time. But she's like, no, this is not me. Don't look at me. Look at somebody else. Help me. And I picked this case because her anniversary is coming up. Her anniversary on the 16th of September. So it's like, let's get this case back after. This is what we do. Our podcast is trying to help missing unsolved murders get more light. Because we also remember, this was a little girl. She was 5 years old. She didn't think nothing bad was going to happen to her.
And kind of like the police said, they had surveillance cameras everywhere. So they have the description of the car that took her. Now, the thing about it is, if it was an illegal status person, they're probably not going to be able to really solve it because they don't even know who that person is. That person, doesn't really belong there. One thing that I was looking into was the letters. Why would you send letters or tips constantly and then telling them to search a certain area?
They could feel guilty. I remember, I don't know the case by heart. This man, he did kidnap a young lady and he was sending police letters and stuff to look for her, even on her grave site, like description of her car when she went missing. He gave her a nickname and everything.
And whenever they say ineligible, the letters were ineligible. I wonder what they meant by that. Like, was the handwriting not legible, or did they not understand the message? I kind of want to know a little bit more.
I felt like it probably was they didn't understand what the person was saying. Because you have so many people that can dissect the letter and like try to like rewrite it in a way. So I feel like they probably didn't understand. They probably just was probably misspelling words or not doing, I don't know, probably misspelling words or not complete sentences.
Yeah. I know, like, too, in Spanish, like, let's say in English, you'll say, oh, the car is red. In Spanish, you say the red car is, you know, like, it's a different way of saying it. So
the suspect they have in mind is very important to this case. I wonder how old he was or like anything about him. To me, I don't know. It's just kind of crazy about this case. I always like look at it and think about the police did a fantastic job. They really, really was doing their thing. Round of applause for them.
yes.
And I feel like the public, I feel like the public got scared. I feel like the public had so many fears that they couldn't help. And I'm not blaming them because if I was in their shoes, I'm like, I want to help this little girl, but I think about my family.
Unless they were the ones that were sending the ineligible letters.
Right. Or they could have went to the mom and be like, hey, I'm illegal, but this is the information that I have. I wanted to think some of them try to do that because think about it. 80%, they didn't interview 20% of the cars.
Well, a lot of them don't want to get involved because if they tell the mom's going to tell the police and it's going to go right back to them. They're like all or nothing. It's more like the out of mind, out of sight type.
Right. I can see that. It's just sad that because they did that to the boyfriend, people are like, oh, no, I'm running back. I feel like the witnesses probably have a lot of information because they only got 80% of the cars. 20 of them, they didn't get. So there's like a lot of witnesses that could have been there. Because I'm thinking about the park. What if there's more kids on the park? They probably saw something or a parent standing by. And they can't go out because they're scared.
I wonder if she's the only one that was kidnapped in that park, or do they have reoccurring missing cases?
I've never looked into that, but that's something like you guys can probably look into for us and tell us. Because it's a lot of information out there that we don't have of this case. I mean, everything with this case, I feel like it could be solved because you have the reward money going up. Usually with cases like this, the reward money be like low, like $5,000, $10,000. Think about the Alexis Patterson case. She barely had anything. This one, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And then the FBI coming in. I feel like the FBI probably have an idea what went on, but they can't release it because it's important information. But I think the mom is clear because they really checked her phone.
I would say if they could even use that money to hire a PI.
Right. But sometimes PIs ain't good. Sometimes PIs will take the money, don't even have anything.
Well, they need to like research a good one if possible.
I feel like with this case, I'm just thinking, I really do think it's a stranger danger. I don't think she stole her daughter because they went through her phone. They would have found something in their phone. Most of the time that they took her phone and like gave it back, they would have found something important in that phone.
Yeah.
But they didn't. And when they checked the house, they probably checked her laptop. They checked everything. So everybody, please, if you know anything, let the local police in that department know.
Yes.
Because her anniversary is coming up September the 16th, and this is why we picked this case. This is why this episode is dropping a couple of days before her anniversary.
1-800-CALL-FBI.
And that's our theories. And I'm sorry, her theories is kind of short because we finally agree on the theory. Let's just put that out there. We finally agree. So please like, subscribe, comment, send in your case suggestions. Follow us on all our social medias. It's in the description below. Follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts.
Give us a 5-star review. Hit that notification button.
We are on all major podcast platforms, and also we are on YouTube. Please check out our YouTube channel. We are a Lesbian Detective podcast. I will put that in the description bar too, so you guys can click. So please keep supporting us, and I love to hear you guys' theories. We have a Facebook group. This is Lesbian Detectives. I'm Sierra.
And I'm Elizabeth.
And everybody's a suspect.
Until proven innocent.
Sorry about the voice, guys.
Till next time.
See ya.
Signing out.
Lesbian Detectives. Unsolved cases. She's still missing. Yeah, they haven't found her yet. Well, let's talk about it.
They say he vanished without a trace. Could it be a psychotic break? Or a tragic accident? Police don't know where the body went. Unsolved murders, body still missing. That's unheard. Where's the witness? Lesbian detectives, what's going on? City on high alert, this out the norm. He did what, the who? Man, that ain't real, these crimes ain't true. Then come uncover these theories with us. We live right now, tuning in is a must.
Right now. Lesbian Detectives. Lesbian Detectives. We about to start the show, so get your popcorn ready to go. Pay attention to the message I present to you, Lesbian Detectives.